All right, welcome back. Today's notes are for section 11.2, arcs and angles. Go ahead and make sure to fill in your date up here so you know when you've done this. And we'll start with some definitions. Okay, first definition is a central angle. A central angle is an angle whose vertex is in the center of the circle. So looking at this angle, I'll put my highlighter. This angle right here would be my central angle. If this is 100 degrees, then my arc measure is also 100 degrees. Name that angle BQC. Fix that here. Angle BQC. Right. Next definition is a minor arc. Minor arc is an arc whose measure is less than half the circle. So less than 180 degrees. Halfway through the circle would be less than 180 degrees. Usually when we name those minor arcs here, minor arcs are usually named with 2 letters, could be done with 3 letters, but this is minor arc BC with an arc over it. Notice that's a little different than our segment, which is that straight line. So minor arc is less than 180 degrees. All right, major arc is next. Probably can guess, major arc is an arc measures is more than half the circle. Oh, let me fix that M. Let me put some red here. So this one is more than 180 degrees, more than half the circle, which is then more than 180 degrees. I want to make sure I put this up here for you. The naming those minor arcs is 2 or 3 letters. Usually the minor arcs are 2, but you could do 3 as long as it's, again, less than that 180. And then that major arc, you have to have those 3 letters. All right, so I'll go ahead and highlight one of my major arcs over here. I'm going to go around more than halfway. So notice that's more than 180 degrees. This is arc ADB with that arc about it. Could have also named it ACB. It's just got to at least go through the 3 letters. Name it with 3 letters that it touches. Last definition here is a semicircle. Semicircle is an arc measures whose is exactly 180 degree, exactly half the circle, which is exactly 180 degrees. Go ahead and highlight this one for you. I'll use some green. So I'm going to highlight, my highlighter, highlight half of my circle, which is my semicircle. And again, naming that arc, we have to use 3 letters. So I'm going to go A, D, C this time. All right. I kind of pointed it out already up here in that circle up here when I talked about the central angle and the arc that it intercepts are congruent. So moving down here, the arc measure is congruent to the measure of the central angle. Again, that's an angle right in the middle of the circle. It has to touch that center of the circle. All right, find the measure of the parts indicated. So I'm looking for arc ON. ON is right here. I see that it's got this central angle right here. So the measure of arc ON is the same as that central angle, so that's 42 degrees. Letter B, and again that's a minor arc for arc ON. I'm looking now at arc, let's see where is that, maybe not, arc OTK, so I'm going OTK. That is a major arc, so it looks like I've got some parts that I have to look up first. I'm going to come back to that one. Looking at angle NRT, I see that it intercepts that arc, so that angle is 89 degrees. And that's going to help me then determine this missing angle here. So this is 89. And if you guys can recall, that semicircle is 180 degrees. So x plus 89 has to equal that 180 degrees. So solving for x here, subtracting 89, oops, not 8x, 89. I've got x equals 91 degrees. So it helps us get this measure right here, which then in turn will help me figure out the measure of arc OTK. Now that I've got that angle measure, I see that OTK is made up of that 42 degree arc, and then that 89 degree arc, plus that new arc that we just found, that 91. So adding those all up, that's going to be 180 plus 42, which is equal to 222 degrees. That's adding all those up right there. Alright, and the last one, change my color again. I've got arc NTK, so I'm going NTK. Notice that that is my semicircle right here, so that arc measure, since it's a semicircle, is 180 degrees. Alright, next example. Finding the measures of the parts indicated. I think in this one I'm going to go ahead and mark stuff that I already know. So I see this arc measure here of 75, so that means that central angle is 75. I also know that RT right here is a semicircle, so 75 plus x equals 180, as well as 65 plus x equals 180, because those are both those semicircles. So subtracting 75, I've got this one equals 105, so I know that this angle is 105. That's going to help me with this arc for 105. Doing the other one really quick, subtracting that 65. What do I have? 115 for that one. So x equals 115 over here, which then in turn gives me this arc. I also can say that this arc measure is 65. Central angles and the arc that it intercepts are equal. Now that I have everything listed, I bet you I can go pretty quick to figure out the measures of all of my arcs. So measure of arc RS here. RS, we have 65. Measure of arc ST then would be here. So I see that one is 115. And again, we got that 115 down here by knowing that RT is the diameter, and so I have a half of a circle, semicircle. Let's pick blue this time. Measure of arc STR. So I'm going almost all the way around the circle STR. So I'm adding up that 115, 105, and 75. Adding those up, I get 295. And then the last one here, I'll use red this time. I've got QS. So here's my arc QS. Looks like it's made of two arcs, 75 degrees and 65 degrees. Adding those up, I get 140 degrees. Circle here all my answers. Okay, so lots of definitions for this section and one big concept, the central angle and the arc that it intercepts is congruent. Homework is listed down here. Assignment number 2. Go ahead and get started.